Capricorns. You know, some people wait for the moment. Capricorns, they create the moment. What do I mean by that? Well, Capricorn energy, it's about the material. It's about matter. And when I was thinking about how I was going to lead this video, the energy of this has to kind of exude what other elements make Capricorn. And as you can see here, like in terms of mythical text, esoteric, Masonic, like they all are obsessed with this Capricorn energy. And why is that? Because the Capricorn energy is about Saturn. And Saturn is about time. It's the god of time. Saturn's current ruler is Zeus. He is about keeping the cycles of time. This is why we have the seasons. This is why we have the months the way that we have them. If you haven't looked at my Astrology 101 video where it's talking about this kind of saturation, right, of Greek mythology, and it's embedded in everything, and which is a bit of a contradiction, but the fact that it's squeezed and molded into things, you start seeing the patterns about how everything's being constructed. But anyway, this video, when we're talking about the Capricorn energy, we're talking about it in a sense of how it exists in your natal chart and how it exists in general, right? Maybe you know someone that's Capricorn, or maybe you are a Capricorn sun that's watching this. The Capricorn energy is so beneficial in this realm because it's literally about material things. And because of that, I believe that Capricorns, like I said, they create the moment. They don't waste time. They're like, yeah, I've got to get this done, and I've got to do this, and I've got to create this, and and they get it done. If you want something done, get a Capricorn. And we're going to talk about their compatibilities later. But as you can see, like when we think of, or as you may or may not know, that the Capricorn energy exudes hard work, but it also exudes this kind of primal, like sexual energy. But it doesn't exude it in the same way like a Leo, right? Where it's all kind of flamboyant, you know, bright colors and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't do it quite like a Scorpio, where they're just standing in the room, and you just feel the energy just radiating off of them. No. Capricorn is very quiet, but very deep when it comes to their sexuality or how they express themselves. And it's about power, right? So that's how they exude things. So, you know, fix it where you need to. But like when we're thinking of intimacy and power, that can be interlaced in so many different ways. Yeah. And that's Capricorn. Everything's about investment, power, creation. It's practical. So, yeah, that's why I think Capricorn and Scorpio work very well together. But Capricorns, they work well with a lot of other signs, but they generally end up gravitating towards those who, they're kind of like Virgo, like they kind of see, oh, look at you, you poor puppet. All right, let me help you out, you know? They kind of have that energy. And so if you have this Capricorn energy in your chart, if you have it literally, let's say in your 10th house, which is the house of, where's my houses? If you have it in your 10th house, this is going to be really good because it's exemplifying the fact that in this material world, you're going to be able to manifest what you want because it's in a beneficial area of your chart. And so you could, then it gets alchemized in different ways. So let's say it's in your 11th house, where to be talking about friends, or connections, or it's going to be beneficial. It's going to be like, you're going to work hard to maintain those friendships. You're going to work hard to explore and understand those connections. But much in the same way of that hard work effort, they're secular, right? So they come under the 10th house. So 10 is also 1 and 9, right? So it's a completion, because 9 is about completion. But it's also 1, which is also leadership. So even the power and the strength of the numbers in that represent Capricorn plays the role of, yeah, like I will work hard, but once that cycle is done, I'm going somewhere else. So if we look at the 11th house of, like, let's say friendship or social matters, if it's done, it's done. They're not, if the relationship is done, it's done. Like, so see how that energy works in your chart, because you will be surprised about how you've navigated. Let's say it's in your 4th house in the area of home, family, right? Maybe that's how you see maybe you're not really connected with your family like that, or maybe, and that's not even just that, right? Like, so when we say Capricorn, so we're talking about Saturn, right? How Saturn is placed. And as we can see here, it looks like, like what the Grim Reaper holds, right? It's a sickle or a scythe. And this symbol has come a long way. Let's put it that way. And it's interesting because it comes under Saturn, incorporated by Capricorn. However, this also is represented by death, but not in death in the way that, hey, it's your time, come on, pack your bags, we gotta go. So it's not that. It's more like, we know when it's ending, and then death comes and says, yeah, this is where Hades come in. This is where Papa Legba or any of your kind of death archetypes come in and say, okay, this is my time now. I need to collect you now. Right? Admin's, hey, look, I don't make the rules. Admin just said it's my time to pick you up. It's my time to pick you up. So it's interesting that they borrow this sign. Saturn borrows this sign from, let's say, the aspect of death, because it talks about the cycles that you're living in this particular lifetime. And it's a container. So when we talk about matter and we talk about the Capricorn energy and about materialistic things, you're thinking, okay, well, that's good then. Because you know what, you meet a Capricorn, they're going to, whatever they put their mind to, whatever they're going to do, it's going to work for them. Because because this is the ruler of Saturn, this is the ruler of this world, basically. And so where you have that energy is always going to help you out, and that's why they're so successful, right? Whatever they want to do, they're going to be good at it. So that is to say, when it comes to how it's alchemized, right? And it was so interesting, on my YouTube studio, it was talking about ecology. And I was like, why would they think I want to know about ecology? What is that? And then I was like, oh, I get it now. And the idea is, when you're thinking about matter, everything alchemizes and shifts into different things. So much like you have a tree in summer, it's in full bloom. As soon as it goes through the seasons, it's going to, the leaves are going to fall, hopefully on some on some earth, not some concrete, but 9 times out of 10 that's the case. In concrete jungles. But if it's falling on the ground, let's say in a park or in a forest, it's going to decompose. And even the ecological or microorganisms are going to benefit off of that decomposure. And that's a death in a way, right? And then it decomposes and then goes into the ground and forms nutrients for the roots of the tree. So it's constantly in a cycle. And much in the same way of this Capricorn energy, it's that cycle of endings and beginnings, new projects, starting again, leadership, same thing. So again, if in your chart you have Saturn or your house or the 10th house is there's activity there, okay? It's going to magnify that area of cycles of hard work, of material gain. And it can be seen as restrictive because it's like it's only basing itself on material stuff, right? It's not looking at it from a perspective of, like, let's say spirituality or that, because all of that to Capricorn is like, what is that, right? Yeah, I can look at it logically, but what is that? And because I was doing some research on it, because I was like, well, it first started with the idea that why did the scythe become the representation of Capricorn when this is clearly for death, you know, or the symbolism across time for death, right? I don't know if Papa Legba had that. No. But he had one leg. So I don't know if that was kind of like a symbolism of that. I don't know. Anyway. So, anyway, I broke it down in a way that I wanted to. Now it's a little bit woo-woo, but it's just more for imagery. Okay, I'm not gonna give you a tarot reading, ladies and gents, but I feel like the numbers. We know that Saturday is on the 6th day, or arguably on the 7th. However you want to see it, Sunday could be like the first day, you know. But 6 is a very strong number. So I've placed the tarot cards because, again, they're all connected, right? So what we have here, we have, don't be alarmed, we have the devil, right? The devil comes under the number 10 and 5, which is 15. And 1 and 5 is 6. Now, it has the Star of David in reverse, okay? And there's a few things happening here. And this is what I want to talk about when it comes to Capricorn, because we're going to talk about, I've spoken about some really good things, or really positive things when it comes to the old Caps, yeah? But because it's on the, because it's on the side of Capricorn, we've got the Saturn energy, it would be negligent to not express that there are some things about the Capricorn energy that needs to be explored. Okay, they are about discipline, they are about order, they are about getting things done. Yeah, and they're very talented as well. Like, they actually remind me, or have the essence of Pisces, which Pisces does come after Capricorn, and Caps. But let's look at what has also stemmed from the energy, right, of Capricorn. So we have the Death card, which comes under the number 13, and I really wanted to, because the Death card is the scythe. He's the guy that comes and collects the people then. Yeah. And we've got the Lovers. So if you can see, there is a similarity in terms of, like, in the composition of the deck, right? So we've got, and they're one and the same, interestingly enough, right? This is almost like the shadow side. This is more like the lighter side, in a way, right? You could brighten this up and become Temperance, maybe, yeah. So for those who are not familiar with the tarot, I just wanted to break this down visually, right? So the Devil card comes under the sign of Capricorn, comes under the sign of Saturn. And what is happening here, you've got, I guess it's Baphomet, right? One of Sagittarius is his boys. And I said to you, like, look at the Sagittarius energy video, because it's like they're cousins. They're so similar. And he's basically, it's more showing the carnal side, right? The Saturn rules the root chakra. So this is about where the womb, or where everybody comes out. Every human being comes out of a womb, comes out of the portal, and that is the root. And with that root, this is more like the most primal aspect of your body, as once you've activated it, it's just going to do its own thing. You know what I mean? It's going to produce the baby. You have no idea how to produce a baby, but your body knows. You know what I mean? It's very primal. It's very encoded in your DNA. So in that framework, again, it's very physical. It's very material. It's very matter-based. And with that cycle, you can have manipulation. The Saturn or Capricorn energy they can do very well to manipulate, right? Because they're very clever, because they see things through. They could easily trick people into believing something, or getting away with things that maybe other people wouldn't. You know what I mean? Because this world favors them. And when you see like Masonic texts, they love it. They love the number 6. They love the upside down star. They love all of this, right? And the upside down star is really the Star of David upside down, but it's really just saying, hey, we want to just deal with all the nasty stuff, right? We just want to deal with like primal, not nasty. Let's just say primal, because it's a part of life, right? But the thing about transformation, or the cycle, remember we was talking about the ecology of trees, and how it is, there's a death and there's a rebirth, right? Here, that's what they're basking in, right? And much like the Haitians say, is too much of anything is the devil, right? And this is true, because it's too much in your root chakra. You're supposed to ascend. You're supposed to go up to the different layers. And if you're stuck in your root, you're stuck in this cycle. You're stuck under Zeus's power, right? And then he likes to keep you there. He wants as many people here as possible, respectfully. So where you have this energy, you have this ability, right? You get permission in a way to maneuver in this way. Now, so they rule, and so how am I going to put this? So when it comes to, like, let's say Masonic understanding of sexual energy, right, and how that is transposed and how that is used. Remember I said earlier, when it comes to that, it's about investment. It's about power. So in the terms of like, oh, I love you so much, it's not, it's like that. The Capricorn energy it can be like that, but it's about power, right? And that energy is used. The science behind the magical use of sexual energy, and it has to be said for this sign, because that's, oh my God, think of like, oh my God, come soon. But think of like R. Kelly, all right? But he is super talented, but you know, he went too much to it to this side, you know? And the purpose and the Masonic understanding when it comes to sexual energy is you use it to manifest, right? So when I talk about power, or talking about, it could be consciously or unconsciously, that they're manifesting a certain power to ascend, or to get what they want in terms of material gain. That could even be a child, you know what I mean? It could be, there is something that to be said. So even if they're spiritual, they're probably more spiritual in this area, because they probably say, I've understood something about this intrinsically. What else is going on here? And that's why when it comes to the use of sexual energy, some people Some people know how to use it, and Capricorn energy knows how to use it instinctively. And whether that draws from you or it magnifies you is neither here or there. It's just one of those things, right? So if your Capricorn energy, let's say Saturn is in your 5th house, right? Which is the ruler. Leo is the ruler of that house. But let's say Capricorn, Saturn is sitting up in there. That is going to be exemplified because it's talking about creativity, love, children, intimacy, all these things. And then this energy is here. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting mix, right? So you see how you work that interpretation. How does that mix together? And so because they exist both in this way, the Capricorn energy, and especially where Saturn sits in your chart or whatever's sitting in your 10th house, is about, can the soul manage the material plane with discipline? And the question is, the answer is yes, but then it's also saying, how do you also balance that out? How do you manage to work through this Saturn energy, this Capricorn energy, in a way that allows you to ascend and not stay in the cycle of Zeus or not stay in the cycle of this material plane? Because much like a tree, or the tree analogy I gave you, the tree is stuck and rooted into this material plane. As humans, we are not. And we are birthed from a space that was incubated in a womb. And we've come out of here and we go back into the earth. But our soul does something slightly different than a tree, let's say. So in saying that, you have to see that you are not just a material essence, you are more than that. And I think with the Capricorn energy, because it's beneficial for them to, they can do very well in the material aspect, they can stay in that and just be materialistic forever. And this is why I said Scorpio could be a beneficial in terms of compatibility, in terms of relationships, whatever, could work very well because they bring that water energy, because Capricorn's an earth sign. And they bring that water energy just to water, like alchemically, you water the soil, it's going to grow some things, like it's going to do something. Not to say earth and earth works very well as well, because you both ground each other. But in terms of like balancing them out, like, yeah, Scorpio can do very well. So if you can see that, where else am I going to go with this? Oh my gosh, I think I've covered everything, but I feel like I haven't. Wait, hold on. Bear with me. Right, so I wanted to talk, so there's that, right? So this is you wanting to be able to balance, not holding the flame behind your back as and when you can, because you know that you can, Capricorn energy, okay? But being able to balance that, being able to not see everything as an investment, or let's say even with relationships, like seeing it, because it is in a way, but like not so rigid, being able to be a bit soft with everything. This is going to be really nice for the Capricorn energy. Again, how it exists in your chart, you're going to be able to say, okay, Saturn is here. I know this could be very materialistic. I know I could be external, but now it's time to go within. My channel is definitely about manifesting and going within and practicing that a lot and using your chart. Even the the astrological chart, even your birth chart, is a cycle, is another tool that is capsulating time. Zeus is the god of time. Saturn is the god of time. So understanding that, right? Because we're playing chess, not checkers around here, okay? Understanding that helps you to know what hurdles or what things in this game called life that you can manifest and ascend, right? Not just to stay in this energy. And I do talk about mythology as though like they're like here right now, because, that's still pending. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody knows for sure what was and what is, right? if let's say something that happened in the news in 1992, unless somebody from 1992 could give you that memory, if it's wiped off the internet, it doesn't exist, right? But it doesn't mean it didn't happen. So much in the same way, I just keep it light, you know? So there's that. So now I wanted to talk about Kronos. Now, Kronos, I spoke about this in Sagittarius as well. So Kronos, so let's talk about Gaia, Mother Earth, right? And Kronos. I mean, I would definitely break it down with other historical, like Egyptian understanding, African spirituality. But for now, we're just going to do Greek mythology, okay? So Gaia and Kronos. Gaia was the sky. Kronos was the water, right? The sky and the water had a baby. So wait, hold on. Uranus, right? So I don't know why I said that. Okay. So Gaia and Kronos had a baby, but Gaia actually created Kronos, right? And then they had, oh my gosh, why am I doing this today? Don't mind me, okay? Gaia created Uranus, right? Uranus and Gaia created Kronos. Kronos was the ruler of Saturn. Then Kronos had a couple of kids, okay? And Uranus was like, oh, I'm a bit concerned. I'm a bit scared that one, they're going to overthrow me because they're very powerful. And I'm not sure I like what I'm seeing here. It's basically like a parent that's jealous of their child or their children, you know, they exist. And Gaia was very concerned. She said, no, not my baby. And then she says to Kronos, Saturn at the time, he was in that embodiment, right? He said, look, babes, shh, I know he's giving you trouble, but here's what you're going to do. Here's this scythe. Here's this sickle, okay? All you have to do is just chop off his genitalia and be done with, and he will not have the power anymore. So then Kronos said, okay, mum, all right. Chopped off his things, and then it fell into the sea. Okay, I'm not gonna draw it. I'm just gonna put an arrow. Okay, plop, it fell into the sea. Yeah, and during that battle, in case we were talking about alchemization, the goddess Aphrodite came to be. And this is why there's a connection between Saturn and Aphrodite, right? Because he almost manifested this person from making this action. And so with Saturn, which Aphrodite is the ruler of Venus, obviously. And with this scythe, he borrowed this, right? And then the same thing happened. And Kronos was just like, oh, no. My children they want to come for me. They actually want to come for me. And he said, all right, I'm going to consume my children. I mean, we could all look at this in a metaphysical way and look at how the energy transposes itself. But it also, I mean, I've read a lot of books about, mythology. And when they speak about gods are very, very vain and very consumed with themselves. But I say all of this to say, right, that the ruler of Saturn and how it came to be, because then obviously Cronus created Zeus and his other siblings, which is the Olympians, right? Yeah, my spelling is really just doing bits today. So he was one of the Olympians. So Zeus said, no, I can do your job, Dad. So everybody's just doing the same thing. Everybody just wants to overthrow everyone, right? So now Zeus now is the ruler of Saturn, and that's how it came to be, and kept the Cronus's weapon, and now it belongs to Zeus in terms of the astrological understanding of Saturn. And that's how this sign came to be. Much of the Masonic texts, they use this sign. Lead was more to kind of have metaphysical properties. But yes, so they used it, or used sexual energy to manifest whatever it is that they wanted, right? And that's why but it's the ruler of this world, right? It is what it is. And so there's that when we talk about the mythology of everything. So I could talk about Hades and Hestia, because they're not considered part of the aspect, but I think we're probably going off topic. But if you want me to, I can, but I probably would do that in the planets and really delving into their storyline and other texts. The Capricorn energy is a very powerful sign, and that is just, it's very powerful. And I would say that if the Capricorn or Capricorn energy, whether your sun, moon, rising, or it's placed in some significant areas of your chart, I mean, it doesn't matter. Saturn will just exude. It's like, I'm present. Hello. It's how do you ascend? All of it is about ascension. All of it. And Saturn is a restrictive sign. It's a restricted symbol. It's saying you're in a cycle and I'm going to keep you here. I'm going to keep you here. So whatever you do, if you decide that you want to say, I don't know, wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, and then go to the gym, that's the cycle that is going to keep you in. That's it. It's materialistic. It works. If you want to do something else, you're going to stay in that cycle. It's constant. And so the energy is asking or challenging, right? Because we want to be a Nancy. We want to be the ones that combat these gods, right? Because as we can see, the energy of how they behave, even across time, they're not very mature at times. They have a lot of abilities, but they're not like their emotions rule them heavily. And so because of that, it is fair to say that maybe emotions are the ruler of all things. But that is the Capricorn energy. And in terms of compatibility, and in terms of even compatibility in your chart, I would say Scorpio, as I've explained earlier, how that balances things out. Leo, so when I was talking about the fifth house, which Leo rules, that could be, it's kind of like, if you archetype it as a person, it's a fun time, not a long time. You know what I mean? But Capricorn, Taurus would work very well. But it really depends on where that Taurian is at, I would say. Because with Capricorns, kind of like Virgos, they want you to kind of get things done. And sometimes Taurus can, the magic about Taurus, yeah, they can look like they're doing nothing, yeah, but they're doing a lot of stuff. But if the Capricorn, or let's say Virgo, is not able to witness that, they could see it as, oh, this person doesn't work hard enough, you know? So I'd say Capricorn and Taurus. I'd say Capricorn and Pisces could be, it could work, but yeah, Pisces needs to be like seen. Like they're so intense on a they need that water aspect. So if there's, so like in your chart, if there are some like planets that are ruled by water or the element of water, let's say Neptune, for example, that is Pisces, then that would help that energy in that house. So hopefully that's helped. Hopefully you've enjoyed my story time. And what I kind of wanted to talk about, let's just quickly talk about this one. So I wanted to put this card up. This is called the Tower, right? And in the Bible, it has the Tower of Babel, right? Everybody was talking too much. God said, shut it down. Now, this lightning is giving Zeus vibes, I have to say. Okay, Zeus is everywhere. It's in the Bible, it's in the tarot cards, it's in the days, it's everywhere. And if you're not familiar with the Bible of the Tower of Babel, where they were like, yeah, let's ascend, let's get to God status, yeah, because we've worked it out. We worked it. I think we're at the Tower of Babel right now. Okay, we're definitely doing some things, and yeah, God, Zeus said, no, shut it down. Who do you think you are? Let me bring you back into the earthly realm, into the realm of matter. This is where you belong. This is where I want to contain you in. This is what I want to hear. Now take it how you want to. Take it as, well, no, I thought that God was telling us that we need to trust in him and not try and do things on our own accord. Take it how you need to take it. But in terms of ascension, this is saying you need to descend and go back to your root chakra. You need to descend and go back to your root chakra. And that's the Capricorn energy. And what you want to do with Saturn, wherever Saturn is rolling about, you want to say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to ascend. I want to get out of this cycle, essentially. Okay? So that's Capricorn energy. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.